It is about noon. I'm currently in the kitchen of the Washington Alpine Club. Here is the dining room. I am making some mac and cheese, but everyone else, basically there was 35 hikers here last night, and almost everyone else has already left with goals for bigger mileage days. But I'm gonna make my mac and cheese, eat it, and then I will head out. I'll talk more about the club on the road. I am back on the PCT. The traffic you hear in the background, I don't know if you can see through the trees, is I-90, Interstate 90. I'm leaving Snoqualmie Pass and leaving the Washington Alpine Club. It's about, where it is, 1:20. So I had a video where I showed the, I'm gonna say WAC, but Washington Alpine Club, where I showed the cabin. It's a, I don't know how many stories or floors. It was kind of confusing inside, but a multi-floor cabin that the club bought in the, I think 30s or 40s, they said. They bought 40 acres for $250 back in the 1930s or 40s. So it's just basically a co-op or club membership where there's about 300 members, and they pay to use this this cabin mainly in the winter, so they can stay there while they go ski or snowboard or whatever winter sports in the area. And then during COVID is when they initially opened the cabin up, or the club up, to PCT hikers. And so the cabin is exclusively for club members or PCT hikers and no one else. But the money that PCT hikers pay, the $55 to stay there per night, which is an amazing deal. Like I said, we had spaghetti, salad, dessert yesterday, pancakes with fruit and eggs this morning, that's included, and then shower, laundry. But anyways, the money the hikers pay is their sole source of fundraising throughout the year. So amazing place to stay. And I think I mentioned earlier, but I got to spend the night there with Isabel, Mia, and Soren, and Nappy, who they've been hiking with. So it's really awesome seeing them again. And originally I only planned to do 10 to 12 miles today, but I'm gonna do 15 so that I can camp with them one last time. Because I plan to cross into Mexico on the 4th, or Mexico into Canada on the 4th, and they're planning on, like, I think the 7th or 8th. So I'm gonna go a little bit further today just to spend one last night camping with them. I also at WAC was Platinum, Banter, Big Shrimpin', people that I did the river float in Truckee with, and then also a couple that I haven't really seen on trail, but it was really cool because I met them my very first night before I even started trail. So when I got to Wrightwood, day 0, I had dinner with Daytona and Miss Moss, and I got to see them last night as well. But yeah, it is going to be a rough climb out of Snoqualmie. In the first 7 miles we gain 3,000 feet, and then by the time we get to camp, I think it's like 14.7 miles, we'll be just over 5,000 feet. So it's pretty steep, steady climb out. So I am gonna get to focusing on that, but it's starting to hit more and more. I'd already purchased my plane tickets back in White Pass, but while I had the little bit of service I had in town, I also paid for the shuttle. So there's a shuttle that will take you from Manning Park in Canada to Vancouver on Wednesdays and Saturdays only. Unfortunately, I will be finishing on a Wednesday, so I booked my shuttle reservation, paid for one of the bus tickets. There's several buses that I will take when I get to the next pass to skip around the fire closure, but one of them is apparently a limited seat bus, so I reserved my like $20 ticket there just so I don't have the risk of not having a seat there. So making my plans and reservations to finish up this trail makes it so much more real, and so I just have to savor the time I have left. This trail is continuously amazing. Hey buddy, I'm on. Buddy. How can you not love Washington? Must be amazing to live here and have access to all this beauty. But then I think, you know, Utah has things like this too, just different version of it, but this is amazing. Today has been just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous day. You can see trail goes along up there, but look at this view. Turn another corner and have yet another amazing view. It is just before 7, and I have about 0.4 miles left to get to camp. Today was definitely a hard day. I'm not feeling sore or anything. I'm going downhill now, but by the time I get to camp, it'll be 14.8 miles, plus the half mile it took to get from the hostel back to trail. But 14.8 miles, but 5,000 feet of climbing. So, you know, the climbing was definitely hard, and there's a lot of rocks and big steps and things like that, so definitely slowed me down, but so beautiful today. Continue views, we're continually exposed and rarely in the trees. The sad thing is that Nappy, who is someone I didn't really spend a lot of time with hiking, but who kind of after I left the groups joined the Tramley, she messaged me on the Garmin saying that she and Mia are going to stop earlier than they had planned, so probably won't see them tonight. may or may not see Isabel, depending if they caught up with her to let her know they were stopping early, because she doesn't have the Garmin, and so if she stayed ahead of them, she would continue to the camp as planned. Anyways, may or may not see them tonight. It's a little bit disappointing, but today, like I said, amazing day, so beyond beautiful. Washington is definitely my favorite state of the PCT, and the fact that I went a little bit extra miles today means I can take it even slower the next couple days to enjoy even more. Today was the first day I hiked both without an ankle brace and without my calf sleeve, and I'm feeling great, and so just excited to get to camp. I'll be camping near a lake and relax, because I get to have some easy days, not set my alarm for the morning. Good morning from day 94. Getting started at about 7 o'clock. I let myself sleep in without an alarm and slept until 6:15 today. Ended up, Isabel, Mia, Soren did not make it to the campsite last night, so I did not get to camp with them one last time, unfortunately. But I did share the campsite with someone named McDouble, someone I had seen at the hostel back in town but had not seen or met before then, so just crazy in my last week, still meeting new people. Today's rough plan, and if I don't feel like doing it, I always will stop early, but is 26.7 miles, just because of campsite and water availability. There's campsites earlier just don't seem as good, and so if I do 26.7 today, then I'll have 22 the next day and 7.5 the day after. So we'll see how I feel, but just gonna take it nice and slow, or just gonna take it nice and easy, I will say. Go whatever pace my body feels like going. I had 5,000 feet of elevation gain again today, but instead of over 15 miles, it's over the 26 miles, so should be more gentle. This campsite was the first time I feel like I've seen mosquitoes in a while. Gotten very lucky, I think just because I'm later in the season. Mosquitoes have died off, or at least that's the best thing I can think of for why they haven't been bothering us like they normally do. But started to have some last night. Again, gotten so lucky with mosquitoes that it's hard to complain. Down there is the lake that I was camping at. Something else that I forgot to mention is that from the campsite I was at last night, I only had 95.2 miles left to hike. So getting to the campsite last night put me below the 100 miles, and including today, which is Saturday, on the 5th day from today, including today, so next Wednesday, I will be entering Canada. I still can't wrap my mind around that. I was talking with McDouble last night about how he felt, and so many people are, some more so on social media, I guess you imagine this. People say, oh, I'm this whole new person, I've grown and changed so much from this experience. But talking to McDouble last night, he had the same thoughts I did, is that and same like McDouble, we don't feel like we've significantly changed from this experience, which is okay. Where I remember telling a section hiker I met on my first night while I'm out here. It's like, I want to physically and mentally challenge myself, which I have done. I love being outdoors. I wanted to spend months hiking and living outdoors. So I've done, and just explore the country and see all the amazing views. So I've accomplished everything I want out of this trail. I've met amazing people, had amazing experiences, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go through a huge personal transformation or anything like that. I've always valued being outdoors and spending time out here, even before trail, so still going to value that when I go home, etc. But this experience has been everything I wanted and more. When you become lazy and really don't want to hold your CNOC, but the branches are flimsy, you fashion poles on either side to hold up the branch and keep it going. The huckleberries are still going strong. Look how big some of these are. One random thing I wanted to talk about that may be cheesy, and I probably won't word it as eloquently as I can or should, but something this journey has helped me with is just kind of accepting who I am. And by that I in this instance I'm referring to socially. So y'all know I've struggled finding a group of people to hike consistently with. Did not hike the whole trail with one person or one group, and I'm right now hiking around other people, but am out here by myself in terms of tramily. But I just passed a group hanging out at a swimming hole in a river who I'll be camping with tonight from where they are planning to go, that I do know, like Platinum, Banter, Big Shrimpin', people I did the Truckee River float with, and then other people I know who were along with them, like Diesel and 10 Speed and Wonky. Anyway, they're a big tramily of like 10, have been traveling together for a while now. And they invited me to join them hang out at the river, and you know, I just didn't feel like I want to do that. I'll see them at camp, but it's kind of just been something that I've had to accept about myself on the trail. You know, I see the hikers in these large groups being extremely social, having a blast together, and yes, that is amazing. I have been like the river float or randomly, you know, I have been in those groups and enjoyed that. But ultimately, I'm not the person who can or wants to be in those groups for long term. People meet, you know, lifelong best friends on this trail. And while I have met amazing people, I wouldn't say I've met anyone who I am best friends with or anything like that. And you know, it's something that I have at points resented about myself, but I've had to accept that it is really who I am. I am more of the introverted loner, and you know, that's not something, it's something I do enjoy socializing at times, but it's just not at the core of who I am. So me and someone who's a social extrovert will not have the same experience on trail, and that is totally okay. We each do our own thing, and it's just a good reminder that I can't force myself to be someone I'm not, or you know, force an experience that isn't true to who I am. It is 6:10 and I'm about half mile from camp. When I get to camp, it'll be a 26.7 mile day. Should be the longest day I have to hike remaining. And everyone else, that large group that I mentioned earlier, Platinum Banter, Big Shrimpin', 10-Speed Diesel, Wonky, all them, are planning to head to this campsite as well, so it should be a fun evening hanging out with them. But I am still feeling great. A little bit tired today. Was a slower day, just because I let myself sleep in, but then also because of the up and down. This Washington has been higher elevation change than Oregon was, but this last section especially has just been a little bit more difficult and tiring, making us work to finish the trail, but feeling good, still just trying to take it all in and let it soak in before I get off trail.